it's not the weekend. Like, I'm really happy on the weekends when I sit down and code, but I'm still happy right now. And I'm happy because this algorithm that I wrote last year works like a champ. I'm going to demo it. Just right about now. All right. So here's my app. And by the way, an algorithm is different than the algorithm. So, like, everyone always talks about the algorithm as far as like selecting content for a social feed or picking out the best YouTube video to show you. It's not really the same as the classic definition of an algorithm. So most of these things that we're calling the algorithm are machine learning models, and it's sort of, in some ways, the opposite of an algorithm. Machine learning models, they're just like neural networks. They're like synapses. They're like a goo that wasn't reasoned and put together, but we figured out through a process of artificial evolution that a certain set of these synapses would produce most of the time the results we want, but they are almost impenetrable as far as digging in and understanding them. It would be like looking at the world's worst set of spaghetti code, full of go-to statements on every other line. But an algorithm is something that you think out, that you reason about. It tends to be minimal and not have lots of extra bits that don't do anything other than just produce the result that you set out to produce. And you can understand it. You can understand the steps along the way, how you arrive at the result. You can communicate it to another person in writing without just dumping all the code that is an implementation of the algorithm on somebody for them to understand it. So the algorithm I came up with was detecting room noise in a set of wave samples. I'm sure it's been done before. It's probably been done better than me, but I did start from it just from first principles thinking about it. So I'm fairly satisfied, more than fairly satisfied. I'm fairly gratified that it works quite well. So I'll show you. So each one of these is a recording. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's pick one that, here, this one's kind of long. I click on it.
You stand here, hold the bag for 2 minutes.
Right, that's a recording of me saying, you stand here, hold the bag for 2 minutes. There's a waveform associated with that recording. Waveform is comprised of lots of samples, and those samples represent air pressure raising and lowering in such a way that it produces sound when it hits our ears. Okay, so let's go look at that waveform. I move this little box over to the finalize button. Okay, so it brings up a visualization of this waveform, and you've probably seen this kind of thing many times. Lots of different pieces of software will open up a wave file and show you, basically these are all the samples of that sound. Now, this dialogue here is meant to give the user a chance to trim the audio so it doesn't include all the junk. This is the start of when we'll begin playing, and this is the end of when we'll stop playing. So let me cancel back out of here. Now listen to this audio before I come back to that dialogue.
You stand here, hold the bag for 2 minutes.
So I clicked it, and there was about a second of dead air, and then you stand here, hold the bag for 2 minutes. It wasn't exactly dead air, though. It was room noise. So it's not like all the samples say 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. No, they say like little amounts, right? So the trick is, in analyzing this, setting these start and end points automatically so that they tend to just contain the part which is past the room noise. And I can see that it's mostly correct. And it's hard to make something 100% correct. That's why I left in the ability to manually adjust this. But this line here, it's not perfect silence. It's a little... It's room noise. It's like little gusts of air going by the microphone. It's the bump of an elbow on this table. It's an airplane from outside. It's the hum of the refrigerator in a different room making its way all the way into this room. So you never get like dead silence if you're recording with any kind of normal microphone. You get this stuff that is kind of a little bit noisy, but doesn't sound too noisy. So you could say, okay, that's fine. Just chop everything off below a certain volume, you'd say. It's not that simple. It's not that simple because in a different space, this room noise might be louder or quieter, as would be the voice signal. The voice signal might be quieter or louder. The worst thing you might have is the voice signal being just a tiny bit louder than the room noise. And then it would be very challenging to have even this auto detection algorithm, which I'm so proud of, be able to correctly find the right spot. But if you got an okay microphone setup, even a junky one like this one here is pretty junky. It's got a fair amount of room noise. This differential between room noise and the voice signal is not very much. Okay. I lost the beginning of that sentence. Okay, what was the thing I was saying? Oh yeah, okay. So you need to be able to analyze this audio and say, if it is going to go above a certain volume, what is that volume going to be? Okay, so then you could say, well, just whatever, like the highest peak of you find in the samples, just say the room noise will be 25% of that. It won't work. Whatever you guess along those lines, there's always going to be some case where that ratio won't work. So I just looked at this and I thought, well, how do I as a human figure out what the room noise is? And I determined that there's a bunch of samples that are horizontal when you look at them. They tend to be a horizontal line. And it's not only that, because there's other places where I see horizontal lines, like right here, for example. There's a fair amount of horizontal stuff, but that's still part of the speech. It's what is the horizontal line that has the most representation? And if I quantize the amplitudes, or I should say the RMS values, which are an average of the amplitudes, if I quantize them so that like all the ones that are kind of going up and down here all fit into like one designation of height. Like we say this is all the height of less than 0.1 or something like that. Then I'll see, well, there was maybe 40% of this wave, the samples in this wave that were inside of that height, right? Whereas if I look at other places where there's a bit of horizontality, this would fall under a different category and it would be less represented in the wave. So we say the quantized horizon. I was trying to say it in a really concise way. If we say the parts that are horizontal and that take up the most space, those are the ones that are going to be the room noise. And so from that, I found the start and end points of the wave automatically.
You stand here, hold the bag for 2 minutes.
Now, arguably, it cut in too close over here. There might be even a little bit of a bug there. I'm not sure about that. But it's still pretty friggin' good. Like, it's not much difference if I do drag it out here, which would be my manual editing instinct.
You stand here, hold the bag for 2 minutes.
So is that much different then?
You stand here, hold the bag for 2 minutes.
I say no, to be honest. I say that this is probably not even a recognizable difference. Okay. So I got those two things to line up correctly. Made me very happy because I wrote that algorithm last year, and it's been a delayed gratification because I only had this kind of painstaking way of unit testing to see how well it was working, and it was fairly difficult to see. And now I've got all kinds of audio waves I've tested it with that are easily testable inside of Wisp in the way that I'm showing you now, and they're all popping up with great results for the start and end positions being set automatically. I click next, and it generates the animation timings. Okay, next in this session that I've already just wasted. Let's just say wasted. Say I've already wasted a ton of time demoing in. I'm going to next move on to writing some code that reads in a WAV file, but it reads it in two different ways. One, it'll read in the audio samples. Two, it will read in animation timings. And there's more explanation to that, but I already gave so much explanation of that algorithm that I just want to move on and start working. So let's do that. And tell you, sometimes Pellegrinos taste like beer. Okay. So let's go SL Web Audio. I think most of the work will be there. Or maybe to streamline my development, I might write some code in the main project Wisp, because I've already got the UI and everything there, and then I can build it from there and test it and get it working. And then after I feel good about the function I'm creating, I can copy it back over to SL Web Audio. So if I look at WAV-util, maybe I will just grab this file and copy it over to Wisp. But do I need that whole file? Particularly when I'm going to have to stop using one of the third-party libraries. Let's copy over functions one at a time as I work on them. So the first one would be let's see. Wave bytes to audio buffer. That's the very first one I'm going to transfer over. Okay, let's do WAV-util 2. Okay, to do move these over to SL Web Audio. One done. Okay. So I already wrote an earlier version of this that didn't use the third-party library WAV file. And I think I'm going to revert to it. So I think I might as well go to my page on GitHub, or my repository view on GitHub. And let's check that file for past revisions, SO Web Audio. Common WAV util. And let's look at the history. Here it is. I do kind of wonder though, like this is my commit that would have replaced the audio API. But shouldn't there be like one more commit that I can look at? Anyways, maybe the diff on this is what I want. Yeah. Yeah, it does feel like there ought to be just one more row here to select the original. Okay, what's this? Let's view the commit details. All right. Okay, so this is what got deleted. No, that's not right. Okay, there's array buffer, await blob array buffer. Yeah, it's not showing what was deleted or what was there previously. I mean, at some point I'll just write the code without messing with that, but oh, I did. Okay, I had something. Blob to audio buffer. I brought in the audio context. Okay, here it is on the left. Okay, I'm being silly. Okay. So this was it. It was that. Okay. So that's not actually the same exact thing that I was wanting, but these two lines are going to be right. So let's bring that over. Import close, but not quite. Okay, so that's just a little helper function that will get me an audio context with some handling around it. Where am I getting array buffer from? Can I just pass in a uint8 array? That would be nice. Okay, well, okay, that's not bad. Okay, WAV bytes buffer. So that probably handles that. Although this becomes a promise. I believe that the AC could be null. Is that true? No, it's going to throw an exception if it doesn't get it. Okay, check over on the exact handling of that. I think it might do more than just throw an exception. I think it might wait until it gets it. No, I'm wrong. It could return null. It could return null. And if I wanted to do it, let's wait until we've got it. I can call this guy, but okay, so the audio context could return null. Let's go back to Wisp. Let's say if not AC, throw, yeah, that. Okay. Don't like that I've got to do an await here, but that'll be okay. That'll be all right. Okay, so then let's make sure that that works. Let's make sure that works. We will do a search for this function specifically, where all the places in the project that it shows up. This can be away, but then I have to up here take this from a different location. Yeah, let's put it up at the top. Yep. Okay. To do. Import from SO web audio after this function moves there. Okay, what's the yellow? Show me the yellow. Yeah, no problem. And what's this yellow? Okay, we will need it later though. Okay. So then, let's make sure that it still plays the wave. Where would that happen? Wave bytes to audio buffer, load the take wave. Okay, that's going to be the take button. Yeah, okay. So let's test that out, make sure it still works.
You seem okay, like I can trust you.
Yeah, it's fine. That's just fine.
5. You stand here, hold the bag for 2 minutes.
Okay, that continues to work. I can also expect it to be more performant because it's using browser native code. I only departed from the browser native code because I really wanted to be able to write and read additional information from that WAV file that wasn't accessible via the built-in web audio APIs that the browser provides. And since I wanted that extra animation timing information from the WAV file itself, I started using a third-party library. But that third-party library ran into problems, not disparaging it. But I found that even though it seemed to be the WAV file library that had the most work and most activity on it, and the most thorough and rigorous programming, it was broken, had some bugs. I couldn't get a build to work when I tried to fix the bugs myself. and the maintainer, and don't fault them for it, just doesn't seem to be too present right now. That's a thing about open source projects is no matter how great they are, like they can kind of grind to a halt if the maintainer just happens to decide that they're not wanting to, or they can't be quite as involved in that project as they've been in the past. And unfortunately, I think that particular project is kind of stalled due to a inactive maintainer, or honestly, he has a message that says things are bad in Brazil, and he's been affected by it. So maybe there's some stuff like that going on that's making it hard for him to get to a project he would normally be supporting. But anyways, much love for open source and the people that maintain it, and I don't have a single bad thing to say about that repository, that open source project, but I don't think I can use it for my own purposes. So I'm going to just write some of my own code for a more limited set of use cases. And that's no problem for me. God damn if this Pellegrino doesn't taste like beer to me. Alright. So it might be smart for me to start thinking of this WAV-util thing is expanding a little bit. Maybe just to start with, let's do a RIF-util, because I believe that most of the operations that I'm going to need are just going to be like RIF chunks, and reading RIF chunks and writing RIF chunks and stuff like that. Okay, RIF-util. Okay, I'm going to take a look at another project here just to kind of get an idea of what's needed. So you could create a chunk. This is a pretty nice, simple all-in-one. Well, no, this isn't the all-in-one. Here's the all-in-one. There's a couple of things I can look at here, but okay, so here's the all-in-one file. Different project than the one I was talking about. Okay, so he's got a function that takes a file, a blob or an array buffer, okay, this looks like a function, and it is technically, but he's actually following the pattern of a class. So he's got the function here, and the way the weird thing about JavaScript is a function can have all kinds of things attached to it and essentially recreate a class. And this is like the constructor of the class. So all he's doing here so far is setting a whole bunch of variables that'll be used. And whatever peak does, let's look at that next. Okay, it loads the header as an array buffer and parse format chunks. Okay, this restate we're loading. Parse array buffer. I'll have to look at that a little bit. Oh, that's down there. Okay. Okay, what was this? Okay, if buffer is not defined, or no, if buffer is contains something, what would that be set up here? Yeah, so here it's saying, okay, well, if we've got a file, let's set this file member. But if we got an array buffer, let's just set the buffer. Okay, Then you create a reader. Oh, okay. And then it branches here. So if we've just got the buffer, then we're going to parse the array buffer. This is the case that matters most to me. Down here, it's actually similar. It's just reading in all the data from the file in one go. Oh, I take it back. Reading in the first 44 bytes to get the header of the file, and then parsing that with the same function that was called above. We haven't yet dug into any more of the file than just, I guess we call it the format chunk. Okay, format chunks. Yeah. I guess that's the header. Okay. I'm also going to have to open up a Wikipedia page or something to cross-reference on the RIF file format. Okay, but by the time peek is done, I assume some other variables in here will get set. Let's keep following the execution to see how they're set. Parse array buffer. This is called by peek. We're going to parse the header. We're going to parse the data. Okay, I can tell that there are some updates to the state based on these not returning anything. Okay, so I'm assuming once I get down into parse header, yeah, it's gonna set like stuff down here. Okay, so parse the header, parse the data. Okay, then let's look at parse header. The way this is set up is pretty easy to read through. Okay, so this chunk ID, you read that in, that'll tell you what kind of RIF chunk you've got. Read text, it's passing in an offset, an absolute offset. That sounds stupid, an absolute offset. It sounds oxymoronic. What I mean is it's an offset from the beginning of the file as opposed to some kind of iterative offset that is updated on different calls. Wally 13. How long have I been working in React? I think about 5 years. About 5 years. Started around 2018, I want to say. So yeah, 5 years. It's good stuff. I'm glad I chose it when I did. Alright, so we get the chunk ID, we get the chunk size, get the format, compression, all that stuff, sample rate, byte rate, block align. Okay. So there you've got the header. It's going to set all these variables. And let's see. Parse the data. Okay. And this is kind of hard-coded with expectations. So I'm expecting that this set of code would kind of barf on the weird sort of WAV files that I'm trying to read in. Because I see it go into the data, assuming it's going to be the next chunk. Chunk type, and you're going to read in at offset 36. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not being presumptuous. Yeah, I agree. Tried to learn Angular so I can develop my stack, but after 10 hours of tutorial, I do not want to work in any other framework than React again. Well, I try not to get too attached to any one framework, but React is right now at least it's a solid choice. And I do hear a lot of people complain about Angular. Particularly more senior developers don't like Angular. I'm sure it's got some good things too. I've heard, with Angular, like there's some things you can do a little bit faster than you could with React or in a less complicated way. But yeah, I don't know too much. Like, you know more about Angular than I do, to be honest. But yeah, React's good. React's got this concept of unidirectional flow. It's very problem avoiding. And I've not found it to be an impediment. Like, I don't have many moments where I say, friggin' React, it's slowing me down, it's making my life hard. Yeah, I may need to cross-reference a spec. Because one thing is, I'm looking at code that somebody wrote, and I know it must work in some set of cases, but will it work in my cases? All right, let's see if I can get a good description of the WAV file format. WAV file format specification. Sometimes you get someone who writes a nice easy to read spec, and it's a little bit better than reading like the RFC stuff. That would be my hope. Maybe Wikipedia, but Wikipedia is sometimes you get good stuff. Yeah. Let's see. I wonder how it breaks down these days. Web Development Framework Survey 2023. Let's see what it says. Most popular technologies. I don't know. I think React's been holding strong for a while, but let's see if I can find new date on it. Yeah. I guess, yeah, maybe I went to the wrong spot, because this is like putting in like everybody's stuff that they would use across multiple programming tasks. But yeah, I imagine it still holds steady as being popular, but is it popular as far as is the supply well matched to the demand? Like maybe from the standpoint of getting a job, it's better to do something besides React. I don't know. Let's see. Quick guide to web development frameworks in 23. Are you are you looking for work as a React web dev now? Django, Angular, Ruby, React.js. Number 5. It didn't really rank these or anything, but anyways, I'm sure it's still a popular choice. It's got some years left in it, for sure. You never know when something's gonna change in development. Like right now, it's like everyone's worried about generative AI and programming becoming obsolete and all that. And I don't think that's quite where we're at, but things could shift. I think it's less likely that programmers will not be needed, but like their role in the programming languages and tools that support them may change pretty soon. Yeah, so for 2 months, trying to develop more, but there are so many ways to go, it's hard to choose. Yeah, especially right now with the AI stuff. But I would say one thing, I've been looking like deep into the AI stuff. Well, not deep. I've been looking like medium deep. Like I haven't like tried to write my own AI or anything like that, but as far as using the tools like ChatGPT and Copilot, my research is showing there's no reason to like give up on becoming a developer with traditional tools now. It's just if anything's slowing down hiring, it would be the layoffs at the beginning of the year from the FANGs. So like Meta, Twitter, Google, I mean, they had layoffs, right? And then like a lot of other companies in the IT industry, they said, well, let's do what they did. We were already kind of wanting to do a little purge for different reasons, and it seems like the trend right now is to kind of lay off people and be more efficient. So they just kind of followed along. And I think many other companies, they didn't do layoffs, but they just did hiring freezes. They're like, let's wait and see. It seems shaky right now. Let's just wait. That's what I think most of the difficulties in getting hired right now are. At the company I work for, that's I'll say that's probably the case. I have to stop short of saying much about the company I work for. But yeah, I would keep plugging away, keep applying to places. It should unfreeze after a bit. I don't think like your technology choices that you make now are going to affect things that much. If you pick something that most of the job listings that you've seen are showing as qualifications, that's probably nothing wrong with that, you know. Not that you asked for my advice. I'm an advice-giving machine. I can't help myself. I cannot help myself. But, damn. React, though. It's a good framework. I am thinking of, like, switching to Next.js, but that's still React. But, yeah, I do like it. Company had 30 people benched when they told me we had to finish cooperation. I hope you're right. Now I'm learning Next, and if I still do not find anything, I'll go for Gatsby. Yeah, well, here's my question to you. And I'll say also my background is, at this point I'm a director of engineering, and I've also been like an EM, hired many people, worked on the hiring process inside of a few companies. So my question to you is, at what point in the pipeline of getting hired are you getting stopped at? So like, are recruiters calling you back? Are you going to the tech screen but no callbacks after the tech screen? Because like how you strategize depends on like which point in the pipeline you're getting stopped at most often. Again, I gotta stop myself from giving advice if you don't want any, but I am kind of curious too. Like, information's flowing from you to me as well. Like, you're out there looking for work, and it's a data point for me. Riff top level, you've got Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's consistent. That's consistent with the you being very affected by all the layoffs that happened at the beginning of the year. So they say, sorry, your CV's great. We got people with more experience applying. Um, yeah, yeah. But that really jibes though, because you know who's out there too, competing for those jobs is like all these displaced engineers from other companies, and it sucks, man. It does. It sucks. The other thing too is, okay, so say there's like I don't know. So you've got 2.5 years, or no, 2 to 5 years. No, you have 2.5 years. I think I might be misunderstanding 2, 5. Okay, but say that the position you're applying to is like senior engineer. But then there's a whole bunch of people applying that are like really more like staff engineer level or senior staff engineer. And that hiring company says, well, let's snap up these more experienced engineers and put them into a role that's a little more junior. The thing that annoys me is that's a bad decision on their part. Like it's foolish, because what will happen is the economy changes a little bit and gets more healthy. The hiring situation gets better, and suddenly you've got these overqualified people that just want to go someplace else. They'll just hire into some other company, and you've sort of lost your investment on the hiring side. I'm looking at it from the point of view of the hiring manager. It's such a loss of value to have someone like come in and be there for half a year or a year and then just go to another company. So if they were smart, they would be hiring kind of at the normal level for that position to get someone that'll stick with their company for longer. But the other thing that throws like a monkey wrench in all of this is the AI stuff. So you've got like the bad economy at the beginning with the layoffs, and then there's this kind of bullshit argument that's put out that, oh, maybe like this is the end of programming jobs, or sometimes people put that little "as we know it" on the end. It won't be. We're not even close to that. That's like the venture capitalist message. Oh, we're just right on the cusp of all these jobs being irrelevant and fully automated. They're not. They're not even close. They've done amazing things. Like OpenAI and such, but there's a lot of misrepresentation about those jobs going away. Yeah, 2.5. You work at least 3 or 4 years. You'd be golden. You're from Poland, and there are many offers for seniors, but you're not senior yet. Yeah. Yeah. No, I hear you. I'm from Seattle, in the United States, and yeah. I've written code for 30 years, and then in the last 7 years I've been a manager. And then I still write code on my own time because I just love it. I'm always an engineer, even if my job title's manager. But yeah, good luck to you though. I think you just gotta ride it out. I think things will get better. Let's see. What's the deal with these riffs? Where we go? This is go. Okay, so here's the format chunk. Then there could be all these other chunks. Is the format chunk what that code was reading in. I need more information about what the format chunk should have in it. I think wave data you gotta find. It could be any place in the file, that chunk there. From within the wave text, followed by the mandatory format, CK format chunk. That describes the format sample data that follows. Oh man, it's almost 6 here. I might have to drop off in a moment here. Get some dinner going. Yeah, I think I will drop off. But, Wooly, I'm sure I'm mispronouncing your handle, but it was nice talking to you. I'm going to sign off here. I'm going to call it a session. Wait, hold on, you're saying... I wanted to find something in the USA, but I do not know services used there. Some suspicious websites only. You do not use services used there. Well, I mean, anyways. Anyway, again, wishing you luck. Happy to hang out again if I catch you on a different day. All right. Stopping the stream. Stopping the stream. Stop.